You can just go on here for Kakas if you really want to, but there's still loads of side lane options from the side of Melodic then instead. But I think they are looking for something along those engage options from Misfits Premier. And yeah, there you have it. On does get locked in. You can now handshake it with a matchup we've probably seen a million times at this point in time at the start of the season, which of course is the Sejuani into the Yawn. Or you can look to kind of extend the side lane pressure with the likes of Fiora or the likes of Camille instead. Gwen unfortunately banned in the second rotation, so let's see what GameWard wants, a frontliner or a side lane pressure.
See, going to be that handshake. Will it be the Ignite? The Ignite top lane? It is going to be actually. He's hovering the Ignite with Teleport. Gulborg, we play a little game here. We've been waiting for it all season. Will we get the solo kill in the top side?
We've been very close to seeing it. And if you're a new viewer who doesn't understand what's coming here, we've seen this matchup so many times. And what ends up happening all the time is that the Sejuani takes Ignite instead of Flash. The reason for this is because in solo queue and probably in scrims, a lot of these players have been actually able to find the kill pressure on towards the Yawn and utilize that Ignite for lane pressure. So far in competitive play, we've yet to actually see that. So the Ignite, per se, has been wasted in that regard by not having the Flash instead. So we always play this little game, or we start to play this game now rather, where we'll actually be like, will we see the solo kill come through from Sejuani? And you guys are in for the ride as well.
Yeah, I mean, we keep referring to it as like the wet noodle fight in the top side.
Oh yes.
Right? Speaking of wet noodles, as we spaghetti into this, we spaghetti into the game. We will be seeing you rather shortly. I believe we're going to cut to a quick video, and we'll see you in the game in a few minutes. Welcome to the Rift as Misfits Premier face off now against GameWard. One of our more contested affairs, I think would be fair to say. We heard that on the analyst desk as well, Gulborg.
Oh yeah, 100%. I would agree with them. I think this is the matchup that's probably the most, what do you say, even matched in between the two teams. They mentioned it as well on the desk, but Misfits Premier, they had a very sloppy start to the season, where it just quite generally looked like they couldn't really function as a team. But heading into the Super Week we just had last week, they managed to pull out a 3-0 against remarkable opponents too. It wasn't just playing against the bottom end teams. So Misfits Premier, they're coming through from a solid performance in Super Week, where GameWard, the only loss they dropped in Super Week was against LDLC, who's arguably the best teams in all of LFL currently. So GameWard's still a top tier team we have. But either way, this is really what makes this matchup so close between the two teams, despite the different track record they have if you look at the games they've had.
Yeah, I don't want to, overhype it too much. I feel like GameWard's still in a position whereby, just off of base, just of what we've seen previously, I feel like they should be well poised in terms of, like, we saw in the first round, Rabbi, for example, Shekolad having so much prescience against the previous composition that Misfits Premier are running. It was a later game composition scaling, which we can kind of see here with the Zeri, Veigar, Ornn. And I feel like they are well tasked in the way that they play their game to kind of counter what Misfits Premier do. But I think, yeah, like we're saying, Gulborg, it is the run of form as of late that allows us to kind of maybe think this matchup will be a bit closer than we have seen previously.
And once again, a lot of that also came through the bottom lane from the side of Misfits Premier, right? They, like, playing through Woolite and Vander, they had a lot of pop-up performances. Now having Woolite on the Zeri, actually not too sure if we saw him on that specific champion in Super Week, but obviously still a champion that's very strong on the current patch as well. And paired up with Renata, it just gives you such a good mobility to move around with. Renata W bailout is of course super annoying. If you get killed, you get revived. But another mechanic is, not only does it give you attack speed, which doesn't matter all too much in Zeri, it also gives you movement speed when you are moving towards enemy champions. All the way geared up to 40% when the W at max. That just, gives so much pressure to play around with for Zeri. And the fact that entirety of the Renata kit is also revolving around disengage just allows Zeri to keep the kiting going. So it's just a really potent bot lane combo.
Yeah, we actually did see, it was Woolite played Zeri against Team Oplon, I believe, during their, I think it was the final game of Super Week.
Interesting. Wave 2 crash comes through from the bottom lane, moving into the mid. See if they can get a summon spell, and they do. Check a lot. Force the flash.
Like this. And this is a really good rotation. They use that early prio in a way that we don't normally see teams do quite often. Move into that mid lane. Get a little bit of an advantage here. It's only saw Vitality B do earlier, but Camillus is waiting in the wings. Does get that stun to Woolite. Stops them getting into lane a little bit. In the queue here. Talk to me about how this lane just generally works, Coolborg. Like, I would assume, because of the nature of the range versus range matchup, it gives a little bit of favor over to Inax. But I do notice that Inax has opted in for that teleport summoner, which to me speaks to kind of just wanting to scale up and just allowing the bard to do its own thing.
You're completely right, and even in the 2v2 scenario, it means that you won't have as good fighting potential as the enemies will, just due to the fact that they have heal, and you only have ignite for yourself, so you kind of want to avoid that. And what this gives you instead is that Bard can just roam around the map. Bard is already one of those champions that, obviously through his core kit, is designed to roam. You get moves around the map, gets extra movement speed, kind of allow yourself to find these picks. And that's what Camilius wants to do as soon as Inax is in a position where he no longer needs his support to stabilize him down in the bottom lane. But you can fight back. Like, this is a little bit of a skill matchup between the Bard and between the Renata. But I would give the favor over to the likes of Renata. We talked about it a little bit in the Nautilus matchup she had in our earlier game. But it is just the fact that both of them goes Guardian. But Vanda obviously has a shield inbuilt in her kit. So when you take that immediate trade, and it's not extended, well, it's very easy for Vanda to win these trades.
Completely agree with you there, Coolborg.
Nice
little ward is found there by Akabane as well. Going to be tracking now Zanzara as he rotates through his second cycle. I'd like to see from Camilius, we spoke about the fluidity of Bard, how it's able to kind of spot out this jungle track. Obviously not able to do that from the priority not being generated by the bot side in those first few levels, but as that kind of goes back in, as they're able to contest these waves a little bit more, I would like to see him try and get wards around the Raptors, around the Krugs as well, try and just, you know, get in the face, try and just create a little bit of space on this side of the map.
Take stop at the top side. I don't suspect we're going to get that infamous solo kill we've been talking about on the first, or like just the first one before they get their first back through. I think Melodic will need a few items. Kakas, though, fighting back now.
Really, and
Wet
ignite from Melodic, not weighing up too many advantages. So the wet noodle saga does continue in the top side.
In the mid lane, Vanda trying to capitalize on the fact that Chocolat doesn't have any flash. And that was actually also what I wanted to talk about. The investment in terms of what resources you actually got from the bottom side. I think Woolite and Vanda lost the XP of 3 minions. And in return, they blew the flash off Chocolat. At first sight, that sounds like it's super worth giving up those 3 minions in terms of getting the flash. But if Chocolats never get capitalized on again and the flash just gets to go off cooldown, simplistically, that is just a little bit of a win going over to GameWard. It's not much, but it's something in the early game, of course, and it does create some opportunities where Chocolat can get the same prio that he would have been able to get normally in a matchup where he wants to push forward.
Talk to me about the level 8 mark, because as we move into like the 8 minutes, in about 3 minutes or so, as that Rift Herald spawns, I feel like Camilius on the board it's a lot more easy for him to kind of get access into the rest of the map and move around. Is it the case of that's going to be a major focal point for them to be playing towards?
I think for sure that's why GameWard finds the early game lead. It's the out-rotation coming through from Camilius. Because he just gets more movement speed, you get the magical journey too. Like, once again, by core kit of the champion, you just outroam Vanda on the Renata. It's just how it works. But in the 2v2 situation, Renata and Seri is just the more potent combo. But I think they're working around with their timings very nicely here. Camilius on the map until bot lane wave gets thrashed, and he's back to share the XP with Inax. And also making sure that Inax won't get threatened in a dive. But due to the priority then that Misfits from here have garnered for themselves, they'll be able to take control of the river. Once again, Chocolat was pushed into that mid lane. You have to respect the fact that he doesn't have the flash, and he is an attack point. Because of that, they're just able to gain all the prio around the bot side, and it's working wonders for GameWard. Or Misfits from Bria, rather.
Yeah, I like this little ward that Melonic's been able to go into the enemy jungle and get there. I think, you know, around about the 8 minute mark that we keep mentioning here, it's going to be an important thing in terms of spotting out this next rotation of camps. I also like that Akabane's gone in. Potentially, I think he's stealing that away, that blue buff. Yes, has taken that away now. Zanzara is going to be rotating into the top side. Akabane is actually going to stick around and take this Gromp as well. It's going to be quite a big lead he's getting for himself here.
Yeah, so at least they are cross-mapping in some regard, right? They know Zanzara is on the Drake. He just gave the extra time to move up around the top side. You get all the intel as well now, which is as soon as they spot Zanzara in a ward, he'll kind of know that, oh, all my camps are gone. I can only move towards the bottom side. And then that gives GameWard the information that the bot lane needs that, okay, enemy jungler will be on bot side, while Akabane will be clearing his red side jungle, trying to just rubber band the XP as well to get a lead on the Wukong as well. Obviously, having that level 6 is great. Great stun from Camilius.
Oh, that is wonderful from Camilius there. Going to be using the ultimate as well. Lands true onto Evander. Inax gets a Q. Going to have E in a few seconds or so.
Bailout!
Has come through. Bailout has come through indeed. Chocolat's over the wall as well, though. The roam did come down here. Who are they going to be handing the kill off to? And imagine for the time expended, they do give it over to Shekalad. Actually, Hinax fancies it himself, takes the double kill. I wanted to mention off to the side here, I felt like it would be an important thing to note. We spoke about how important this Rift Herald would be. It is going to be, on the other hand, Misfits Premier that trade it. I see GameWard getting a beneficial trade in the bot side, but in that previous foray, it was Melonic burning that ultimate after a gank, potential gank from Akabane. And I thought that would have paid real dividends for them, but look at this here. Chameleus just capitalizes wonderfully.
Yeah, and it's just a level advantage as well. You know, Chameleus been able to pick up meats while he's out, and as I said, this is a skill matchup that kind of favors the Renata, but if you take your trades well, this time around they don't, and Chameleus finds a beautiful hook. While the Balor does come through, Woolite's way too low, and with the pressure and Rome coming through from Chocolate, they pick up the 2 kills in exchange for the Herald on the top side, and some mid lane CS, of course, going over to the favor of the Veigar. Either way, very competitive play coming through from the likes of Inex down towards the bottom side and the rest of GameWard, where they stay competitive in terms of resources on the map.
Indeed. 2 kills go the way of GameWard there. Spoke about these early advantages for them. I feel like Misfits Premier still gearing up to sort of offering up opposition in terms of what their win condition is. Obviously, already getting that first dragon. Maybe when that next dragon comes up in around 2 minutes or so, we can see Zanzara further cycling into the bot side. You can see him already utilizing that Rift Tail. Get a little bit of gold back into Woolite's pocket, and himself, obviously.
Crucially, Chameleon's ultimate isn't up yet. I wonder if it's going to get up just in time. No. So usually Bard is the kryptonite of Rift Heralds, right? Because as soon as you see a Bard in the game, you can never use the Rift Herald where Bard is. Chameleon's ultimate is up now. I'm not sure if Sansara had the correct timing on that. Either way, it works out for them. But as soon as the Herald charges, you can Bard ult the turret, and the turret won't take any damage whatsoever. Which is usually why you want to mitigate a play towards where the Bard is. You want to move it elsewhere on the map. Works out this time around, though.
I like how GameWard is just continually bleeding out resources from Zanzara's top side. The more time he commits towards his bot side, he is definitely getting punished by the kind of two-pronged forefront of GameWard. Since Melonic and Akabane is, there's an ult. Tries to get found there by Chameleus, doesn't quite manage to do it. But yeah, Melonic moves in there, takes the Gromp. It's constantly the case that Akabane's there as well when he has to be. Taking away these resources, ultimate comes down as well.
Here we go, the Ignite. It's going to pay its dividends soon. Just wait for it. Maybe not.
Maybe. I'm not so sure, Goldfog.
It's gonna come through one time. I'm sure it will. Don't worry. We'll see at one point. Now with the bot lane
You're a
priority.
Sejuani Ignite.
Yeah, not really, honestly. I'm just trying to be optimistic. I'll tell you that much. Bot lane priority leads to the fact that GameWard can move up towards the river. They clear out a bit of vision. That's great for the Drake coming up in 50 seconds time as well. Obviously, first Drake went over to Misfits Premier, so they're not continuously keeping some stacking going for them. But they could have picked up first Drake for themselves. Because of this, reset timers are also coming through from Misfits Premier. They can pick up some core items. I do believe Shield Bow will be bought from the likes of Woolite too. Yes, there it comes through. Which will mean they remain competitive if a fight were to break out.
Very competitive. Second dragon going to be spawning up in around 20 seconds or so. Misfits Premier, Zanzara, not really. He hasn't really. I don't think he's been topside in about, I want to say 5 minutes.
Well, why would the junglers go topside? What are we trying to influence here?
Well, you know, just in terms of actually taking the camps, as you can see,
that's
clearly
fair.
It's fallen down
That's
around
fair.
4 camps or so, 5 camps now even. So
traditionally
in terms
speaking,
of whether or not, yeah,
Sansarin has never been a jungler that likes to play for himself. He's always been a jungler.
True.
Even when he won European Masters, he was on the likes of, Trundle and Ghana as well, where he was playing for his teammates, influencing the lanes. Which has kind of been what he's doing now. Fight breaks out.
1-all. Doesn't manage to get much here. Baby Cage does come out as well.
Melonic moving down. Doesn't have that ultimate. Remember, he tried to use that in a solo kill on the top side. Didn't manage to pull it through. Drake going low now.
Is not really able to get into position here. Melonic doesn't have ultimate for quite a few more seconds. I think Misfits Premier might have just been able to get away with this.
No cross-mapper coming through either, so yeah, you're right. I don't know if it's per se daylight robbery, but great setup from Misfits Premier. It's not going to be the first Drake for GameWard. Instead, it's going to be Misfits Premier to keep the stacking going. Despite being 1k down in gold, he had a mythic advantage on Chocolat too. He had finished up the Leandri's Anguish. Still no mythic from Triumph. But on the contrary, they're looking for him.
Oh, Chocolat flashes away there. Was a bit scared about the return damage, being able enough to take him out there. To note, his Shark does have that Predator, so I don't quite think that Chocolat needed to flash there, but I like that they're trying to find a play now. And I hope that they continue to revisit this, because a flashless Veigar is something that can be abused by this Bard as a Wukong Triumvirate.
You never know. You don't want to take any chances. On the top side instead, Melonic has garnered an XP lead instead and a huge farm advantage to his own right. Down towards the bottom lane, Woolite gets caught.
Style takeover does come out. It's going to stop Wukong. Woolite goes into his immortal shield bow here. And find a little bit more space here. Go bailout, but it's not going to find anything in return. It's a kill over to Akabane. Swiss Premier bot lane gets punished again.
Top side instead, Sansara finally there to influence the matchup. Let's have a look at it. Wait, solo kill?
Ooh, it's the flash away, but time and time again, the saga of the wet noodles. Too often is it influenced by the jungle. Melonic actually doing a lot of damage in return to Sansara. Shyek's here.
Oh, he did it!
Found it! That's
It finally happened,
baby!
It finally happened on the top side. I mean, it wasn't the target that was ignited. That doesn't matter. 1 versus 3 manages to trade even. Phenomenal stuff from the GameWard top laner. Melonic with the ignite Sejuani on the top side. Finds the priority. He finds the kill and he finds our acknowledgement.
That is a boar that wanted more, much like Oliver Twist. And Melonic is able to find a last salvage of sustenance in the top side as he takes out Zanzara there. And I really think with the amount of resources being dedicated towards that, massive victory for GameWard.
Absolutely. You get plating down towards the bot side while they were still up. Chocolatte's got to push in the mid lane too. We start out with a bot lane exchange where Akabane finds a good flash and Woolite bailout. Not in a position to bail anyone out this time around. And then let's have a look at it. Let's see what happens. No! That was the most important fight. You can't cut it away. What?
Oh no.
Who cared about Woolite? I wanted to see the Sejuani.
It's the wet noodle saga. It's a well-documented theme on this channel now.
Probably the most documented theme.
We've got a few in-jokes now. One of the downsides, obviously, that I'm not with my joyous love, Rude Dude. Me and Rude Dude used to have a wonderful in-joke with the Gangplank level 1 ward. I feel like we need to develop more of that.
I mean, I feel like we developed quite a bit. We got the Sejuani coming through. We rated all the teams in terms of what kind of music.
Are you getting jealous? Are you getting jealous? I'm talking about my ex-caster.
I think it was only you. I think like there's too many play-by-plays I can bring up, Cakey boy. I don't think we want to play this game.
You don't have to do me like that, bro.
If you start the fight, I'll probably end it for you. Don't worry about that, buddy.
Speaking of starting fights, though, I feel like obviously with the utility tools that Misfits Premier have, when they come to this next Dragon in 1 minute and 30, they have that engage obviously from the Ornn. I feel like being able to have an accelerated Vega, somewhat we spoke about that, not having flash on Shyek, and they have definitely revisited. It's that triumvirate. It's the Bard, Azir, Wukong. Called it Goldborg.
Finally came through this time around. Bot lane gets taken out by Melonic in the mid lane instead. The 3 men are now ravishing the turret, taking it down. And yes, Shyek, he fall, no flash as the turret comes off. They can continue with the priority, which gives them some extra time to play around, can gain some vision in the enemy jungle. Melonic might look for a solo kill while just clearing the board.
The ignite is coming up. And slowly the ticking time bomb before this ball goes nuclear. That's not a mace he's carrying, it is a nuclear warhead.
Oh my god.
We are heading in that direction almost. Every time there's like a durability patch or like something, when the tanks just become like, at least like absolutely just complete warriors of doom.
To be fair, one of my favorite metas was Maokai and Sion as well, like when they first started busting it out.
I'm gonna get so much hate for saying this, but do you remember Iceborne, Gauntlet, Sunfire, Echo, and Fizz top lane?
I played this out of that. I played that so much. It was disgusting.
It was so fun. I'm sure any AD Carry fans in the chat just absolutely hate us for saying that we love it.
I think I had 50 games on it with a 70% 8 win rate. And speaking of win rates, they're looking to win a fight.
To find a stun here. Shyek as well. Akabane's in. Zanzara's into stasis. Ornn comes out in response here. Akabane, W away. Off to the side here. Chocolatte's found Vander. He's going to take him out as well as Katskos as well. And Misfits Premier will not be taking a 3rd dragon this game. Wonderful engage and fight founded by GameWard.
1, 2, 3, and Drake will be the 4 in this instance. They should just be able to pick it up here. They stopped the neutral objective stack, and you're completely right, Jake. That was a beautiful fight. They just got completely dissected on the side of Misfits Premier. It was a little split, but each split fight that GameWard had, they were winning out on. And now, once again, cross-map comes through instead for Misfits Premier. They're trying to utilize some of the extra objective bounties they're now getting. This Herald should at least let them have one of those bounties.
And I feel like something that was so important for Misfits Premier in their 3-0 Super Week was just how often they were able to get sort of, not early leads per se. I don't think there was any game apart from like, you know, supposedly Oplon, where they sort of stormed out of the gates with a massive lead. Well, in some of these, at least the advantage of being able to get into the 20-minute mark knocked down a lot of gold. And you see them able to find things and capitalize. I feel like not much has been able to be done for them here. They're finding cross maps, but they're very much taking the shorter of two straws a lot of the time.
I feel you in that instance.
Yeah, 100%.
And Chayak, actually, I think it's been a while since I've seen, Luton's Echo Vega come through. Usually it's enough just having that Everfrost because of the fact that, you pretty much stack indefinitely AP instead, and you create some extra CT that you can kind of play around with, layer that cage on top. So it does make the game a little bit more difficult, but he does have that Predator, and should one of the members, specifically Chocolate or Akabane, get caught by the Event Horizon, they could potentially end up dead. But that might be Kakas now.
Flank from Malonic. Look at him. Catskos as well. They're getting one more tick of... Leandri's onto him there, as Wulite has to flash away. Akabane's onto him as well. Lovely little stun there from Camilius. GameWard have so much control over the map right now.
Genuinely speaking, they have. They still try and trade back some of the objective bounties, but in the grand scheme of all these things, it's still GameWard winning out. No Baron is out just yet. 1 minute before that comes out. Had that been up, that would have probably just been the Baron gone, but it's a lot of confidence that you're suddenly getting on GameWard. Now you can start operating on the more aggressive side of the map. Clear out the vision in the opponent's blue side. Start getting those first initial foundations. Setting up on a Baron. Sansara might be getting caught now.
Ooh, Zanzara has to use the ultimate almost immediately. Has Shayak here. I like a little step back from him to bait a little bit further in as Inax gets taken down. That was a lovely little footwork there from Zanzara. Catskos is over to the side, gets Akabane. Akabane just out. Nice little flash forward from Shayak as well. 2 return kills for Misfits Premier.
And that's what you're looking for here. Overextension from GameWard. They took too much to try and garner vision, and because of that, reset timers already came through. Well, I say reset timers, it was death timers. They respawn fast, only 19 minutes into the game. They come out with home guards after dying, and it seemed like GameWard, they just didn't expect everyone to be around. Chayak, once again with the Predator, was able to join the fight so quickly. And now with the jungler dead, with Inax dead, he might just turn onto the Baron Nashor himself here.
Onto the big purple worm in the jungle here. Chocolate to the side. Important to note, he has that flash. If he can find an angle here, Inax is fantastic flanker as well. He's going to go so aggressive onto Chayak as an engage from Malonic Bardal as well. They put out Catskos. Chocolate has that flash. When will he choose to go? Doesn't quite have to. Inax. We've seen so many flanking AD carries today, Goldborg.
Yeah, now the tables have turned though. Suddenly one member down in Chayak. He does have that teleport heat, but he's still 22nd before he's back. Akabane still on the Baron. Sansara doesn't have flash, has to get into the Baron pit with a wind and strike, but they're looking to turn.
They're going to be trying to turn it. Catskos got much damage done onto him. Wulite's out, but getting chased out by Malonic now. Vander trying to do as much as he can, has to use the bailout onto himself. It's a double kill for Inax. Zanzara's in that ultimate, but Chocolate takes him out, goes on a rampage. Wulite stuck between a rock and a hard place, quite literally, has the Krugs only be saying hello to him. And that flash over the wall from Inax, very cheeky from him.
And now Chayak finally back here, but the rest of the members have just fallen around him. I don't suspect there's much he can do about this situation. Inax low, but the rest of the members of GameWard still in a position to capitalize. Chocolate has that ultimate if needed.
Yeah, really confident there from Chocolate just to stop Chayak from being able to get into any sort of a beneficial position there. And now this game is kind of, you had Misfits Premier had a little bit of being able to take some pot shots back at GameWard, who are basically, they're not throwing rocks, they're throwing boulders at this point, I think it's fair to say.
I think
that's yeah. Right. Misfits Premier, obviously able to get a few kills back. It looked good for them for a few seconds, but they start this Baron up, and it's how important it was that I thought Chocolate would be the one to blow this fight open with that.
Look at it's so cheeky. Inax channels the True Shot Barrage and then TPs, and he finds the perfect combo on Chayak. It feels like flanking AD carries has just been the name of the game today. It's the second time we see it. Obviously, earlier today, Jeskler on the Kalista in the Vitality game was the one completely flanking them, and then we come to a point where it's all about turning. They know they have the man advantage. They don't have to be on the Baron. They just have to bait the members of Misfits Premier too far forward, and once they do, the rat trap snaps and they pick them all up, get the Baron, and now they've started the sieging.
Indeed, starting that sieging, starting to build their lead more and more. We've seen it be the case this game. With a lot of those turrets falling down early, they've just been able to further and further move forward their vision line. Just choke Misfits Premier out of this game. The Boa Constrictors. We do see Chocolate has to flash away from that baby cage there. Seen him do that once or twice this game. A lot of caution being shown by GameWard, I think, is fair to say, but no caution shown by Wulite. Stunned up here by the Sejuani ult. Hope to get out of that with too much trouble.
And once again, we come to a point in the LFL where team fighting's super good. Sinking waves, we're still working on that a little bit. Tempered Fate comes out, but no one really in a position to capitalize. Chocolate pushed in mid lane, moves down towards the bottom side, but still, they're too scared to step up. Trying to not get caught by the Event Horizon.
Yeah, you're not going to be doing too much damage to that guy. I think the main guy going to be on the receiving end of any punishment towards him. You see how much MR he's picked up now with that Negatron cloak, with that Mercury's treads as well. Yeah, he's not getting blown up by Vega, I don't think. Not at this threshold.
That's a very fair point. Now, only a few auto attacks left. They start the engage.
It's an all-ult that only lands onto Camilla. It's not exactly the target you want. Return fire, True Shot Barrage. Lands true onto 2. Baby Cage has come out and stand up 2 people. Akabane to go into stasis. That turret is just primed out on the side there. Ultimate comes out. It's so close to killing Akabane, but not quite.
50 HP, just short of finally taking him out in the mid lane. Wave still has Crash, bound up minions comes through, reset timers from Misfits Premier. They're not in a position to stop the turrets from falling, but they should be able to get out on the map and stop the inhibitors from falling.
Those inhibitors from falling, very crucial for them. They've not allowed the onslaught of GameWard to be treading too far into their base rather. They are going to get another Cloud Dragon. They're going to be stacking a lot of these, I think it's fair to say, in the oncoming minutes, if the game goes that long, Gorborg.
I mean, the slow
what kind of
resistance
utility
matters.
do these Cloud Dragons give them?
Yeah, the slow resistance matters a little bit in terms of, like, you know, Renata E, the initial on ultimate that slows you before the knockups comes through. Outside of that, probably doesn't do too much here, but I guess it's nice because I have some movement speed to play around when the Event Horizon comes through.
Event Horizon, yeah, I feel like it's very important to be able to dodge away from that, but you know, they'd obviously prefer something different, I think it's fair to say. God, I feel like I bash Cloud Dragons way too much, Gorborg.
Honestly, I think it's justified. When you take into the account that one of the strongest dragons is like either Hexdrake, Infernal, or, you know, Mountain in terms of what they give you, and then you have Cloud Drake that's kind of like, well, how about some slow resist and you run. I feel like
when Cloud Dragon is really good, it's really good. And it really hits the spot. But like
yes.
you don't want it all the time.
Yeah, it's such a niche Drake. I feel like the other Drakes, you know, you can make them work most of the time where they have their mark. But Cloud Drake is probably the most niche Drakes out of all of them in terms of when they really leave their impact. And speaking of leaving that impact, you want to take control of the jungle. Hayek trying to be in a position where you can stop anyone from walking forward, but we've already discussed this. If Melonic is the guy caught up by the Event Horizon, probably not going to do much. And now, GameWard not making the same mistake of overextending too much when they're taking vision control. They're just placing the normal wards we usually see, the pressure points when walking forward towards a potential Baron, and just waiting those close to 2 minutes before that big objective comes up.
Yeah, I think when that big objective comes back, I can't foresee Misfits Premier being able to kind of find those beneficial angles for themselves. I feel like an important point of intonation would be, Misfits, for example, we saw Shigenda on that Ornn being able to find these flanks, getting up in the face of your main damage carriers, just keeping them busy buying space. With no vision line really being granted by Misfits Premier, it's going to be relatively impossible for them to do that. They kind of have to go from the front, and I feel like they just aren't going to be able to have the damage or gold values to be able to just really carve through the front line of GameWard.
I think you might be right about that. Now, Tempered Fate comes through, Centaur.
Off to the side. Really going back towards the turret. And they're just playing a slow game now. They've got they're the beneficiaries of, obviously, Catskoss being towards that bot lane. A little bit of time to play it. Just going to reset before this Baron spawns up. Maybe get a little bit of excess vision before they shed their way back to base, and the Baron is really going to be the next point of conflict in this game.
Yeah, let's take a stock at just inventory right now, moving towards that Baron. In the mid lane, item advantage to the side of Chocolate. In the bottom side, 4 items completed for Inax, whereas Woolite sitting on 2.5. A big deficit. And even just the tanks, right? Like Melonic, 1 item ahead of Kakas, 2 levels as well being up. That goes for pretty much all of them. Inax, 2 levels over Woolite. Chocolate, 2 levels over Chayak. And then again, Melonic, 2 levels over Kakas. There's just so many advantages on GameWard. It's going to be very difficult for Misfits Premier to find their picks. But if they were to find one, it would come through Chayak.
Certainly so. You see Melonic. Looked like he might have been looking for a slight engage there, just pushing and pulling the members of Misfits Premier away from each other. And that Azir stronghold in here. Vision further moved up and then moving towards that Baron.
And it's just brilliant vision control. You can see how deep it is. This pink wards. Inax can even look for plays here. They have the Azir turret in the mid lane. Then Sarah half snuck around, and now they will spot him with the Vision Cone.
I love how aggressive Inax is here, just off to the side. Just
Look at the damage as well.
It's just a complete artillery mage on Ezreal right now. He's gonna find a Q over the wall. He's killed
dead.
Chayek. He's gonna be over the wall now. He's gonna take out Vander as well. Inax is an absolute sniper here. The London sniper has found absolute angles of doom here. He takes out Chayek initially. He takes out Vander as well. And what a performance from Inax. He's just the flanking AD carry.
Essentially, that could have just been solo kills when they came through there. There were assists for his teammates, but Inax, he set all of that up. Great Tempered Fate afterwards come through from Camilius, and they are just so split apart from Misfits that GameWard, they just pick them up. They pick up the Baron.
Like
they
Inax.
don't even. They pick up the Nexus turrets, and they should just end the game right here, Don Jake.
Wow, dominating.
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Such confidence there. Just basically playing the Xerath version of Ezreal.
Feeling
He's
himself.
so confident to play with his... And we've seen so many players